One of the things I wonder, Kat, is whether they're setting up as Rupert gets to a point in his career and life that maybe they're setting it up to get sold.
Yeah,
that
right.
They want to get rid of some of the large dollar items and leave it more flexible for somebody who may not want to be conservative.
That's true.
To make it available.
That's true.
So,
But Rupert, of course, in his early 90s, many report that neither of his sons are interested in continuing the business.
Yeah,
and
we
that
don't
both
know
of
for
them
sure, but that's the talk.
those are
Yeah.
reports, right?
Yeah,
and that they tend to be a little bit more left-leaning. So, to your point.
So let's bring in Dick Morris, former, I should say, put it in context. You've always been a consultant, political consultant, whether it's Bill Clinton or former President Trump. What's your take on what's going on today?
Well, I'm going to leave the analysis of the media to the experts in media. Let me talk about the politics of it. First of all, half politics, half media. The obvious fact is that Newsmax has won. Newsmax is now the sole conservative voice in media. And Fox News can talk about that, but by firing Carlson, they have decidedly moved to the left and to the center. And why they're doing that, I don't know. But clearly now, Newsmax is the voice of the right. I think their ratings are going to increase dramatically. I think people that used to watch Fox are going to flock to Newsmax. The other big winner here is Donald Trump, because Newsmax covers all of Trump's rallies. Fox News did not cover any of them because Murdoch hates Trump. Because when Trump was president and Murdoch was the media boss, Trump didn't let him run the country, didn't let him call the shots. Trump doesn't let anybody.
So you don't consider Fox conservative anymore?
I think they're doing their best not to be. I think they're kicking and clawing and screaming to move to the left.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting. You have three possible motivations for somebody like that, Murdoch. Money, he's got plenty.
He has almost 800 million less.
He has power. He never had it with Trump. And it's social acceptance. It's that he's not invited to the cocktail parties. That
he's held the cocktail parties. I mean,
yeah, but he's the pariah, and I think
so?
that he's reacting against that. But regardless of the motivation, that's for others to talk about. For me to talk about is that Trump now has a monopoly over conservative media, and he has a platform that he can talk about. Newsmax will be objective in covering everybody. But Donald Trump is, at the moment, getting 60% of the vote in a Republican primary against 14 challengers. So it's obviously Donald Trump who's going to be covered. Yeah. Fox had a policy of never letting Trump on. If they covered him, they would do all kinds of put-downs of him before he'd do it.
So you think this is political?
Well, whether it's political in its effect, it sure as hell is political in its outcome.
Yeah. And Dennis, is this a good business decision on behalf of Fox?
To get rid of their very top anchor with the highest rated show in all of television and cable news. You know, it doesn't sound like it's a very good business decision.
They've done it before.
So then why?
Yeah, well, again, I think it might have been this thing about control, refusing to rein in and give the bow if you're that anchor, and that freaks out TV executives. But here's the thing, guys. Why should this stop at an anchor? Why is no senior executive of Fox News, now you can tell I'm not going to be asked to go there for any reason, why aren't they being penalized? Some of these senior executives show up again and again in this lawsuit that I've read in detail. Suzanne Scott's all over the place, worrying about what they were reporting in election fraud, but never reining them in. They're so afraid to rein in their most powerful anchors. It's quite a fascinating insight, and that was one reason Fox settled, is we don't want people to get more insight.
Roger Ailes once told me that when Larry King goes, CNN will fall apart. And he was prescient. It took a little while, but it happened. Now I think it's true that when Tucker Carlson goes, Fox News is going to begin to fall apart.
Isn't that what they said about Bill O'Reilly?
Well, it was different. Bill O'Reilly was simply the highest rated of the talent. Tucker Carlson is a force in politics and in the industry. And O'Reilly never tried to be that. He just was a good newsman.
He put on a really well-produced show.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And so does Tucker Carlson. I mean, he does as well. But you don't think it had anything to do with the fact that he was saying one thing on the air, and then, according to emails or texts, seemed to have a different approach off the air, and that they were concerned that the viewer may lose trust?
Well, there were plenty of that, plenty of people playing that role. If they all got fired, it'd be a pretty lonely place on 6th Avenue and 47th Street.
At 1211?
but I think that the main effect of this is it's the end of the rhinos. They have no place to go yet anymore. The Republican conservatives who don't like Trump were the Fox constituency to the extent they had any.
And
now
Dick,
they don't.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dick, but I do want to get your thoughts on Don Lemon also being out at CNN. The former president had some choice words, and I'll just sum it up, saying it should have happened sooner.
Yeah. Well, for somebody that hates the media, Donald Trump is going to have a very nice week.
Yeah, he'll be on Greg Kelly tonight, actually, at 9 p.m. at Newsmax. So we're excited to hear what he's.
It reminds me of the Madame Lafarge in the Dickens novel about the French Revolution, keeping track of every head that's cut off, doing another stitch on her cloth. And
We're in a very dark place.
Wondering.
Yeah, that got dark really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with a smile he delivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a big smile, too.
I want to see I've watched businesses reel for years after a lawsuit, big settlement, a big defeat like this. And I hope this doesn't make Fox News more timid, too ambivalent on one hand. On the other hand, sometimes you've got to take a stand, especially in prime time when it's an opinion show, and you've got to call out the incumbents and what's going on. Are they going to be willing to do that with the same alacrity?
That's a great point, Dennis. And we have to realize that the threat of defamation lawsuits is more pernicious in censoring news media than any executive action at the White House or any action of Congress. It casts a shadow over news media that intimidates them, freezes them.
And if I may, Dick Morris, it's the personal person. You don't want to lose your job. You read and see how many of these senior executives' names show up in that lawsuit again and again, and their emails being quoted, and you're just thinking, please, I don't want to lose my job. It's human, but it's going to affect this news organization.
See, I was talking about losing my head. Job, I guess, is another category.
Yeah,
All right,
sure is.
Dennis Kneale and Dick Morris, thank you, gentlemen. Did want to share this, Dick, right on the page with you. Our Newsmax CEO, Christopher Ruddy, has released a statement on Tucker Carlson and Fox News, and it reads, for a while, Fox News has been moving to become establishment media, and Tucker Carlson's removal is a big milestone in that effort. Millions of viewers who like Fox News have made the switch to Newsmax, and Tucker's departure will only fuel that trend.